Stephen McDonald is a Catholic role model for me. He's a very special person and was a New York police officer who was shot in the head and neck in the line of duty in Central Park. When he was only 31 years old, he lived in my hometown of Malvern and was very friendly with his wife, Mayor of Malvern, Mrs. McDonald, and their golden retriever, Murphy. When Stephen was shot, he became quadriplegic and was paralyzed from the waist down. He had to get around in a wheelchair and was hooked up to a respirator 24/7. What makes Stephen so amazing is that he forgave his shooter. Stephen was known as God's cop because he forgave the 15-year-old teenager who pulled the trigger on him that one horrible night. Stephen would go around to jails and schools and often to speak to inmates and students about resolving problems without violence. He said that he could choose to be angry the rest of his life and by being locked in his own body. He could move on and forgive his shooter, and was at this time he decided that faith was very important. The Catholic Mass praying on our need for God was speaking to him. Stephen truly believed that God's love put him back together again. Stephen always believed the power of prayer for healing. He prayed the rosary every single day. Stephen was a devout Catholic. He was a devoted Catholic. He believed in God and the Father and always had hope. And he always had love for Jesus in his heart. Although it's not easy, Stephen learned to not distance himself from God. He told the world that he forgave his shooter at his son's baptism because he wanted to free himself from the pain, anger, and hatred. 2 years after his shooting, his shooter called him from jail to apologize to him, Mrs. McDonald, and their son Connor. And he wanted to also devote his life to faith, even from jail. When Stephen was shot, the doctors only gave him about 2 years to live. But when his son Connor was born, Stephen realized he had to continue living. In order to live, he had to forgive. Stephen wanted to be the best father and husband he believed that anger was a wasted emotion. The day after Stephen was shot, the New York Cardinal, John O'Connor, celebrated a Mass for the McDonald family at St. Patrick's Cathedral. From that day on, Mass was celebrated each night for the 9 months Stephen McDonald was at the hospital. And all the cops joined to pray for Stephen McDonald to pray the rosary every day. Stephen admits to having lots of bad days when he was angry how he was locked in his own body. And he was also very depressed. He said that he needed to heal, and the only way he could heal was to move on forward. With love, he said that he learned to forgive. He would always be angry in his heart if he never learned to forgive. Mrs. McDonald, his wife, says she now fully appreciates the courage Stephen had. The commandment, I think this is the 7th. Thou shalt not kill. The Beatitudes Stephen McDonald lives is blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are the pure in heart, and blessed are who show mercy.